All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling and Fans Discussions. This is going to start our Survivor Series retro review series. We're starting off with the first annual 1987 Survivor Series. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and this is my one of my favorite pay-per-views. It's got to be, I believe, besides WrestleMania, this and the Royal Rumble to me were just one
Oh
of
yeah,
my definite favorites. Especially when they did do it Thanksgiving Eve or
right,
Thanksgiving night.
right.
To me, that was my start of the holiday season for me.
Yeah,
It's a Wonderful Life
yeah,
garbage.
waiting to get out of school on Wednesday, and then you have Saturday night's main event. Not Saturday, we have Survivor Series at night, and then the
Yes.
next day you have Thanksgiving to look forward to.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
this one was when it was during the Thanksgiving era, so this was actually on a Thursday. And Vince was basically trying to destroy Starrcade because Starrcade was on Thanksgivings, and then Vince was making his Power Play pay-per-view was just taking off, coming off the hot off the heels of WrestleMania 3, which set records.
Oh,
So they decided, hey, look, we got some momentum here with the pay-per-view with Hogan versus Andre. Let's do a Survivor Series and have them featured in it, and let's also destroy Starrcade. So Vince basically told these cable companies that they had a choice whether to air Survivor Series or Starrcade. And if you aired Starrcade, excuse me, you couldn't air WrestleMania. The next WrestleMania, Vince wasn't going to give these cable companies access to. Even though Starrcade went ahead and they moved their event into the afternoon instead of the evening, because back then we didn't have a lot of pay-per-view channels like we do today. So they couldn't have them both at the same time. Starrcade made the smart move to move during the afternoon. Vince didn't care. Still played hardball, man. Vince is Vince. And so most of the companies ended up choosing Survivor Series because Vince already had the track record with WrestleMania doing a lot of pay-per-view buys. So only a handful chose Starrcade. So that's why we got Survivor
well, I
Series.
mean, look at the card of the two, and can you blame them?
Yeah.
I mean, the Starcade's back. I mean, besides the first one, I mean, they were lackluster.
This is
To say
still
the
Jim
least.
Crockett. Yeah, this is still Jim Crockett Promotions when they were kind of like they were declining. So
I mean, they were making money. They had the talent. The booking was the
right.
leadership
Yeah.
just wasn't there. So this was, like you said, the inaugural one, November 26, 1987, Richfield, Ohio. Because Jesse Ventura kept saying he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Jesse was screwing
And
up
I
a
think
lot during this.
you know what I think the next one's in Cleveland. I think I could be wrong, but I think 88 I think is in Cleveland. I'm not sure.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But he just kept screwing up a lot in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting wrestlers' names wrong. I mean, this Tama, the Islanders, he was Toma.
I think he was doing it on
Jesse,
purpose.
were you
Though.
even there?
No, I think he was playing that heel like he was. I think he was.
Oh yeah, he stood up during the Bolsheviks national anthem.
Yeah,
He's telling gorillas stand up. Why?
Jesse
That's
was
not my
great.
anthem.
Nah, Jesse was great, man.
The two of them were.
Yeah.
So 21,300 came to see one of the biggest Survivor Series main events ever. It was the return of Andre the Giant, first time wrestling since WrestleMania 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew he was coming for his revenge. Huge roster that he had backing him. And for me, I always thought not so much on Hogan's side, but we'll get to that in a minute. Our opening Survivor Series match, I actually enjoyed. It was the captain. You know, what's funny is the captain of this team feuded with everybody on his team at one point or another. And I'm not talking little feuds. I'm talking big feuds.
Yeah.
I just every time I look at this one, I'm like, wow. I don't know. It was Macho Man Randy Savage, captain of his team.
Yep.
With Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who the two of them beat the crap out of each other 8 months prior. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who he'll later feud with. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, same thing. And of course, one of his biggest comeback feuds was Jake the Snake Roberts.
A newly babyface Randy. So here's the thing, it's funny about that team. If you look at it, Randy was a heel like right before this.
Yes.
Jake was a heel not too long before this. Brutus was a heel.
Not too long before.
And now they're all baby faces on the same squad.
Brutus turned at WrestleMania, Savage right after Mania, Jake Roberts around Mania, and Duggan's always been, and Steamboat's always been. Now, the team that they're going up against is captained by the Intercontinental Champion Honky Tonk Man, because Sal Savage and Honky got the huge feud.
And, Savage and Honky had a feud. He had a feud with Jake also. Honky had a feud with Jake, right?
Yep.
Did he have
He came off beating Steamboat for the Intercontinental.
Yeah, he had a few with it's like there's so
pretty
much
much everybody.
Yeah,
and then eventually, and then after this pay-per-view, it was after the Savage thing, it was going to lead to Beefcake.
Yeah.
So now,
So
he's
he
pretty
had
much going to feud with everybody.
Everyone's
Now the rest of his team, just a pack of idiots. He had King Harley Race, one of the great wrestlers, but coming down on his career. Dangerous Danny Davis, which
he's dangerous, man.
The Mighty Hercules, or actually just Hercules Hernandez, I guess at this point, and then the Outlaw Ron Bass.
Yeah.
So this was our Survivor Series team. About 4.5 minutes into it, you get your first elimination. Duggan and Race get counted out. I mean, it's like as soon as they got in the ring, these guys went outside and beat the crap out of each other. So you kind of knew where that was ending. So now we're down to 4 against 4. The next elimination was 2.5 minutes later at the 7-minute mark. Beefcake eliminates Ron Bass. And there was also a short feud there between those two.
Right. Later on. And is that 88? They have that feud, I think?
Yeah, I believe so, because he had cut his hair. 3 minutes, 51 seconds later, Brutus Beefcake gets eliminated by the Honky Tonk Man with the shake, rattle, and roll, which he pretty much got him in that out of nowhere. He didn't really execute it really well, but he kind of got it on him.
I always like shake, rattle, and roll. I always like that move, yeah.
Following that, at the 15-11 mark, now Dangerous Danny Davis gets eliminated as Jake gives him the DDT. And that was one of his best DDTs.
Yeah.
So now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty on this. So then the next to go out would be Hercules, 21 minutes 4 seconds. So now Honky's pretty much screwed. It's 3 against 1. He's getting his butt kicked by all 3 members. He decides to take the count out.
He got the hell out of there. Yeah,
he took his belt and Ventura said, "Well, I bet Jimmy Hart told him that was smart,
right?
Because he's got to defend the title every 30 days." And
right. If he gets injured, then he's gonna have to forfeit the title, which they forget about later on. But whatever.
That 30-day rule is just it's written, but it's not executed.
Right.
Especially these days. So Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, Jake the Snake Roberts, all the survivors in the inaugural Survivor Series match. This one was pretty good. I wish I would have seen Honky get a beat down even more because of what he did to Elizabeth and what he did to Savage.
Mm-hmm. And right before that, yeah.
And the Hart Foundation deserved a butt whoop from him too. Mm-hmm. And they'll get it too. So our next Survivor Series match, I want to get into a side note with this, and I'll do it after I give the roster. This was the Women's Survivor Series match.
Mm-hmm.
It was Captain the Fabulous Moolah, Velvet McIntyre, Rockin' Robin, and the Jumpin' Bomb Angels versus Women's Champion Sensational Sherry, the Glamour Girls, who are the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions at this point, Judy Martin and Leilani Kai, Dawn Marie, and Donna Christianello. And I don't know, was it me or did it look like Social Security checks needed to be given out in this match?
Yeah,
especially on Sherry's team.
Yeah.
I mean...
But I will say this. I actually thought the match was pretty good.
It was.
Like, especially the Angels. Like, yes. They were doing some groundbreaking stuff back then. Like, you didn't see that from women's wrestlers. You could see the difference between them and the other female wrestlers and the stuff that they were doing in the ring. So I actually thought it was actually a pretty good match, I thought, all things considered.
It was. And the side note I had mentioned was I happened to fall upon this article I read, and I did some further research on it and found out, because I always wondered why the women's tag team titles had just disappeared.
Vanished. It's like you wouldn't even know about it. Like really.
After the Royal Rumble in 1988, where the Jumpin' Bomb Angels won the tag team titles, they were non-existent.
Right.
Here's the reason why. Several months later, during a Japanese tour, the Glamour Girls were going after the titles from the Jumping Bomb Angels. Pat Patterson was doing the booking at the time. At the last date of the booking, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, for no reason, Fabulous Moolah turns around and tells them all the Glamour Girls are going to win the titles back. So on the very last day of the tour, the Glamour Girls beat the Jumping Bomb Angels to win the titles. This infuriated WWE as well as Pat Patterson, because the plan was for them to go to WrestleMania 5, and the Jumping Bomb Angels were going to face the Glamour Girls, and that was going to be their big payday.
Right, yeah.
Because Moolah had no authority to do this. Patterson was outraged. WWE officials were outraged, and the title they didn't receive the change well, and eventually they just abolished the tag team titles altogether instead of fixing it. So thanks to Moolah, this screwed the four ladies out of a big payday at WrestleMania.
Moolah strikes again.
Exactly.
Because they were highlighting the Jumping Bomb Angels in this match. They were setting everything up for them going forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. You could see it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a quick side note on that one, because again, I always wondered why. I knew the right reason why the women's title was kind of in limbo, but I never understood why the tag titles all of a sudden just vanished. So to start this off, 2 minutes in, wasting no time, Velvet McIntyre eliminates Donna Christianello. Thank God. So she's the first one out. 2 minutes later, Dawn Marie is out by Rockin' Robin. So now they're quickly down 2. 7 minute mark. And I love how it was all at the even mark. I really don't think they were keeping time that well back then. Sensational Sherry takes out Rockin' Robin.
Yep.
And that eventually sets up a feud between those two. The next pinfall after that was Fabulous Moolah was out at the hands of Judy Martin. From there, then Velvet McIntyre eliminated Sensational Sherry. So, and then McIntyre actually got hurt during this match. And you could tell that she had a back issue, because when they did one of their moves where it was supposed to land on the ring, but it was actually, they landed on her knee, on the knee, they hit her back a certain way, and she really couldn't go a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, she's out there reeling, but because it was her turn to get in the ring, she had to get in there. Eventually, she winds up getting eliminated by Leilani Kai in this one, but you could definitely tell that she was fighting hurt. The next 2 eliminations, this came down to a 2-on-2. It was Leilani Kai and Judy Martin against the Jumping Bomb Angels, and the Jumping Bomb Angels back-to-back eliminate them 1 minute apart. And this was some of the greatest aerial stuff. I even like that one of them, and it could be either Isuki Yamazaki or Nario Tatino. I don't know which one it was, that drop kicked Jimmy Hart, but I loved it.
Yeah.
You don't
he was on the apron. I think he was on the apron, right? Just like the double drop kick.
Yeah.
2 feet.
So that was kind of cool. The Jumping Bomb Angels are your sole survivors, and this sets up going to the Royal Rumble for the Tag Team Championship.
Yep.
And I remember that match, and when we get to the Rumble, I'm definitely going to be talking about it.
This was
actually pretty good.
It was a fun match, like I said in the beginning when we were talking about it.
Except a lot of them needed to retire.
No.
I don't know, that's my opinion. Our next Survivor Series match was, and I loved when they did this, because they did it in the first 2 years of Survivor Series. The tag teams were all in on it, and I really like. 88's I think was my favorite.
Dude, you're talking about the look at the talent and how red hot that tag team division was. And the only thing I would say, and I think the Rockers might have been fired at this point. Either they didn't come in yet or they got fired. But
no, they got fired by Jimmy.
Okay, so had you replaced the Stallions with the Rockers, forget about it.
Another November with Brett and Sean in the match. Oh, and that's all we need.
And the Stallions were okay. Don't get me wrong; they weren't bad.
Oh yeah, no, they were good.
But I'm just saying, like, had you had the Rockers in there instead, the only thing I didn't like, but I understood why they did it because it makes sense. It was single elimination for the tag teams. If you get knocked out, your partner gets knocked out. But if it wasn't, this match would have been an hour because this match was already a long match. As I don't know the exact time that of this match.
7 minutes.
There you go. This match would have been an hour if you would have had, double elimination.
You had 10 on 10 in this.
You had 10, 20 people.
Series matches. Yeah,
20. And you know what was cool? All the heels, they all had managers. You had Jimmy Valiant. Yep. You have Fuji. I believe Heenan.
Yep. Jimmy Hart,
and the Slickster.
Yep. Everybody was out there.
This is when managers meant something.
And the tag team division.
And they added, and the tag team division was on fire. I mean, you look at this was the best the tag team. And you didn't even have the Brain Busters yet. You didn't have the Brain Busters yet. You didn't have the Rockers.
Yet. And who else are we missing? I know we're missing a couple other teams.
Yeah, but they red hot, man, red hot. Killer Bees were underrated.
Yes.
The
The
Yeah,
Rougeaus were just starting.
You know what's funny too? Think about it. Watching the Rougeaus were baby faces at this time.
Yeah.
So to see them team up with the British Bulldogs, knowing what happens later,
yes,
knowing what happens later on.
I was thinking of that watching that. Yes,
I'm like, wow.
I'm like, wait a minute. In a few months, y'all are gonna have some static.
Yeah, seriously. And well, the Hart Foundation had issues with everybody else on the other side because the Hart Foundation were feuding with the Bulldogs. They were feuding with the Bees. They were feuding with the Stallions. And what was the last team? There's one more team.
It was tag team. It was Strike Force, British Bulldogs, Killer Bees,
and Strike Force,
and Stallions. Yeah,
yeah.
They just lost the titles to the Strike Force.
Right. So they had everybody on that side. They had issues with.
Not to mention they're real close to having a face turn at this point.
Yeah.
So and then they're about to have heat with everybody there at
yeah, because they switched sides with Rougeau brothers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was Hart Foundation, the Bolsheviks, Islanders, my favorite Demolition, and a team that didn't belong in there because they were literally a team for a second. The New Dream Team.
The New Dream Team
of Greg Valentine and Dino Bravo.
This is Demolition's pay-per-view debut.
And I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, it was just weird seeing them and the Hearts together on the same side. They got to be facing each other.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just nonstop beating each other up. So, I mean, this one, it started off fast paced, but then as this match was going on, it dragged a little bit as far as the eliminations.
Yeah. I can see that.
90 seconds into it, Strikeforce eliminates Boris Zukov.
Flying jalapeno.
Tito Santana eliminates him. He's out. This was back when Tito actually would get a victory.
Right, yeah.
Against a big guy.
Yeah.
The next eliminated, Hart Foundation side decided to say, well, we're going to even it up. Axe eliminates Jacques Rougeau. Fabulous Rougeaus are. And some of these eliminations you can only do in Survivor Series, like a hip toss, side suplex, or a clothesline to the back of the head will get you a pinfall back then. Now you got to do 3 signatures and 4 finishes before you get the pin. So now they evened up. Each team has lost a team. Unfortunately, the next eliminated was Demolition. They get disqualified. I don't know if they took them out because they at this point they're starting to grab huge momentum, and I'm not sure if they wanted them overshadowing the Hearts or whatever. I just thought it was too early for them to be out. But
Demolition. I mean, Demolition had just gotten there really. So,
well, they were getting the fast track.
They were, yeah. They were. I mean, but it's still very early.
Yeah. So the next elimination, and this shocked me, was Nighthard eliminates Santana. So now Strikeforce is out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, you just took out your tag team champions midway through the match?
Yeah.
What is this? That to me didn't make any sense. I really thought that the tag team champions should have at least lasted just a little bit longer.
Yeah, they probably should have.
So this is where it starts slowing down, because 8 minutes later now, Haku eliminates Dynamite Kid, so the British Bulldogs are out.
They're out of there.
And we all know the Bulldogs are setting up a huge feud with the Islanders at this point. Not to mention, they're also there was another feud that they had in '88 as well. They Bulldogs, Islanders, and Demolition. The next elimination after that, Paul Roma takes out Greg Valentine. So the Young Stallions have eliminated the New Dream Team, which I think after this pay-per-view that was over. I don't even know why they tried again.
I don't know.
You know what's funny? They said Dream Team more for these two guys in one night than they did
ever did
the whole time for Beefcake and Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
So the next, this one shocked me, but then again, he's not WWE champion yet. Jim Brunzell, 7 minutes later, eliminates Bret Hart, which a few years later will never happen, a million years. But I just think it was funny because I'm like, well, he's an up-and-comer still, not the main eventer yet, so it makes sense. And then Tama is the last to be eliminated by B. Brian Blair of the Killer Bees when they pulled the old switcheroo with the mask.
With the mask, yeah. I used to like when they used to do that, though. It was fun.
So the Young Stallions and the Killer Bees are your sole survivors. I would have replaced the Killer Bees with Strikeforce only because they're the tag team champions and they just won the tag team titles.
Yeah. I mean, who knows why the booking was the way that it was. Maybe they were just trying to give them a chance just to,
I know the Young Stallions were on a fast track because they main evented the Royal Rumble. Well, that doesn't say much because the Royal Rumble wasn't pay-per-view, the first one. But they were trying to see what the Young Stallions can do until the Rockers came along, and that pretty much crapped out.
Yeah, so
unfortunately, but I don't know. In my opinion, I think the tag champions should have been the Survivors as well.
Yeah, and I hear you. I hear you on that.
So now we go to our main event. It was Captain WWE Champion Hulk Hogan with Bam Bam Bigelow, Ken Patera, the original Kurt Angle, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndoff yet again, and this was the first time that there was a replacement. It was supposed to be Superstar Billy Graham on Hulk Hogan's team.
Mm-hmm.
They replaced him with The Rock, Don Morocco. Now, here's the reason why. Superstar Billy Graham had gotten back into the ring. He was a seasoned veteran at this point, former champion. He was in his mid-40s. The injuries were catching up to him, and he couldn't do the full-time schedule. So what they did was they wrote him off the storyline a few weeks prior in a match against the Natural Butchery, where one-man gang body splashed him on the outside. So they injury wrote him off the match, and so therefore Morocco takes over, and then Billy Graham eventually comes back to be Morocco's manager,
right,
for the rest of Morocco's WWE career, which was
I think it was his hip that was really giving him problems.
His hip, his back.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff. Yeah,
I mean, he was a 20-year veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Again, former WWE champion. So, I mean, this guy did it all. For him to come back into this ring at this point, I mean,
it's unfortunate though. It would have been nice to see him on a pay-per-view. That would have been nice. Like a send-off, you know?
Yeah, and what would have been even cool was 90 days prior to this, the ultimate retirement match happened when Bruno Sammartino exited the WWE in August of '87, teaming with Hogan. So imagine if Bruno was part of this match too.
Yeah,
I mean, oh my God, the way this match would have changed drastically.
Yeah,
because you look at Hogan's side, and then you look at Andre's side and go, damn.
It's funny. It's funny with Hogan and Morocco, and Orndorff, those guys that Hogan was feuding with, and
big time.
Yeah.
And,
now they're friends, I guess, because they hate Heenan, right?
And then Patera was a long time heel.
He was also a heel, but this is after he had gotten out of jail.
Yeah,
come back.
His career was also winding down as well.
Yeah.
And Bigelow was the youngster in this,
young babyface.
Exactly, and unfortunately, he didn't last about a year before he went off to somewhere else and then came back years later. Then you have on the other side Captain Andre the Giant, who was getting into the ring for the first time in 8 months. So you got to wonder about ring rust. Then you had Ravishing Rick Rude, King Kong Bundy, Natural Butch Reed, and the One Man Gang. That's a lot of beef on one side. So this match starts off literally 3 minutes in. Hogan squashes another would-be contender. Butch Reed is the first one eliminated. Literally 3 minutes in. I get to give his team, I guess, the hand in this one, but I just didn't like that Butch Reed went out that quickly.
Yeah.
From there, the Andre's team evens it up. One Man Gang eliminates Ken Patera. Thank you, goodbye. Didn't like him anyway. Didn't believe he belonged on this. He could have found anybody else to be on this team.
Ken was a better heel.
He was.
Before he went to jail, yeah.
Exactly. Especially when he was Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
The next elimination was Paul Orndoff, thanks to Rick Rude. And how ironic.
And Rude was jacked, man.
Yes, he was. That was when he just came in. I mean, he had it.
Remember what, dude? I was watching this, and when Rude and Morocco were fighting each other, it was like Steroid City.
Yes, especially Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco was like was veins on top of veins and like that. And then
he was so jacked, he can't wipe his ass.
Yeah. And then Rude was just like Rude had like no waist, but then was like,
but he's all up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was funny. And again, Morocco looked the best of his career, and that was the downside of his career. Like that was when it was ending, unfortunately. And I forgot what I was going to say, so it don't matter. The next elimination was Rick Rude, Don Morocco.
Yeah,
he takes him out. So they're quickly coming out, and then Don Morocco is eliminated by the One Man Gang. So we're having a little bit back and forth here. So right before Hogan gets counted out, which I can understand him going out that way to save face, being the champion, seeing as how Andre has to save face. it's revenge pretty much for WrestleMania, so he has to get over pretty much here while this feud's done. Right before it, we finally get the Hogan Andre WrestleMania rematch in the ring.
The roof blew off the place when Hogan and Andre got in the ring and they were going at it. Oh man,
constantly getting those elbow shots into his head.
They were going back and forth with each other, and oh man,
I think the roof would have blew up if he tried to slam him.
Yeah, and he said he was going to originally. Remember, he points at him and he goes like that. He's gonna slam him, and didn't. But I understood why, because you want to make it a little more special. He only did it at WrestleMania, and then he doesn't do it till later on. But it was, and they have set up the whole thing about how he really won that match. Remember, they were saying how, oh, he did get the 1, 2, 3 at WrestleMania, and the referee Joey Marella or Ventura was talking about. No, he kicked out. But storyline, they were doing the whole heel thing, and Jesse Ventura was like, "Oh, let's Joey Marella again." Same referee that saved Hogan in WrestleMania.
It was
good stuff. It was good stuff.
It was, and then Hogan being kept out of the ring by Bundy. So then Hogan gets eliminated.
He gets eliminated. I guess as a kid, I was so disappointed that Hogan was eliminated by that early and by count out, but I understood why.
I mean, you look at it now and you see, okay, for this, like I said before, for the feud to continue, Andre has to get one over on Hogan.
Right.
Because if Andre loses this and Hogan is the survivor, it's over.
Yeah, and they also I look like they were trying to highlight Bam Bam because Bam Bam was just getting his babyface run, nice little push, and so he was the sole survivor from that team.
Yep, because now it's 3 against 1 in his favor. And he handled himself pretty good. He eliminated Bundy.
He did, yeah.
And he eliminated the one-man gang. And then it came down to him and Big Boy.
Yep.
And that was like Khali and Rey Mysterio almost. But these two guys are over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
But if you look at Andre and you look at Bigelow,
he looks small.
And he picked him up with one hand. And he did his double underhook for the victory. Yeah. Andre gets the victory. Now, back then, if you notice the trend on pay-per-views, the heels never won. That wasn't the end of the night. So obviously, here comes Hogan running back to the ring, hits Andre with the belt.
Cheap shot with the belt.
I don't care.
No, as a Hulkamaniac back then, you loved it.
Yes.
But watching it now, I'm like, Ventura's right. Like Hogan's a sore loser and a cheat because he lost the match, and here he comes flying out there with the belt. And then he hits Andre.
Well, how many times did we say it during Royal Rumble 92?
Yeah.
Talking about in the past how Sid eliminates him and he gets pissed off and he wants to take him out.
He does. He
is a crybaby.
Only Hogan could do heel stuff back then and
get cheered for it.
And get cheered. And so he beat him up with the belt, And then he starts to start posing.
Yeah, but Hogan, if you notice, he's dangling the belt in front of Andre. And Bobby Heenan is standing there. You want him? Sign the contract.
Yep, they're setting up.
This is the start of what we're going to see at the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. He just kept saying, "You want this man? You sign that contract."
Right. So it was well done.
It was. This showed you that their feud was not over and that Andre was back to get him.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I actually missed before this, because I want to bring this up real quick, even though he wasn't on the card, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
That's right.
Had a segment before this match of how he was spending Thanksgiving and then what he can do with his money, because now if you look at it, the two, that and the main event ending, tie in together because DiBiase had said during the segment, what will I do? I can spend my money on anything and get anything I want. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of what do I want. Mm-hmm. So you can see how it's kind of setting up 88. The only thing I didn't like was when he showed the segment with the kids, but it was probably all storyline. The kids got a bunch of merchandise.
No, it was storyline.
I remember seeing the basketball thing live on as a kid, and I'm like, you SOB. I'm like, really?
Ultimate heel.
Exactly, but the best at it though. Mm-hmm. He was one of the best, and again, why he was never champion, I don't know. But they showed all the segments with him, and I thought that was good because. I mean, now you wonder why he's not on the card. This is the reason why he's planning his next move, which is definitely, hey, Andre, give me the belt because obviously I can't beat Hogan.
Right, yeah.
So all in all, this was a good inaugural Survivor Series.
Oh, it was, man. Let me tell you,
they just keep getting better.
Yeah, and for a debut pay-per-view series or pay-per-view event, I should say, this was really, really good. Only 4 matches, but quality.
Yes.
Like each match had quality, and I mean, obviously the talent, top to bottom. I mean, great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think we get a bad Survivor Series for shoot. I don't even think we're going to be doing one probably till next year because the
yeah,
ones
well,
we're covering over the holiday of the November holiday season, they're all
yeah.
good.
The early ones are really good. I didn't actually see this one live. Did you see this one live?
No,
I saw this on
I
VHS.
don't VHS. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it on VHS. And I didn't know the results either. So even though I had seen superstars of wrestling and stuff like that, for whatever reason, like I didn't know the results. So like I said, when Hogan was eliminated, I was really disappointed as a kid. Yeah, Hogan got eliminated. But
Yeah, I believe I yelled out something that my mother wasn't too happy
yeah,
about. So it happens.
Hulkamaniacs back then. But
Oh
great,
yeah.
great pay-per-view. And we're gonna keep reviewing Survivor Series for the next few weeks. So you guys make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.